Hello everyone, I'm Farmer Sim, and it is my great pleasure to present to you from Farm Sim Brisco, the Vintage Oaks. Ladies and gentlemen, there are maps and there are special maps, and in my humble opinion this falls heavily into the latter category. It really does. This is absolutely gorgeous and I absolutely love it, if you couldn't tell. So, firstly I want to say a massive thank you to Farm Sim Brisco for reaching out to me all that time ago and sending me a pre-release copy of the map for me to have a look round and pass on an opinion to. I really appreciate that, mate. That was, for me, that was a first for this for my humble little channel. So yeah, never be forgotten that, mate. So thank you very much indeed. That was a humbling day, shall we say. So anyway, Farm Sim Brisco. I'm sure we are all familiar with his work. He is responsible for the likes of Saxthorpe Farms, which is an all platforms one times map available to download on the Giants mod hub, and is also responsible for the Oaks version 1. Now the Oaks, interestingly, was his very first ever map. He didn't just start gently and you know, cut his teeth on a 1x map, as it were. He dived straight in there and wanted to make himself a completely custom 4x map based on a real-life location where he still lives now, and that is what the Oaks was based on. It was a gorgeous map, absolutely beautiful, but Farm Sim Brisco was not happy with it. He thought he could do better. He wanted to learn more and more and more. So this is the result of over 1,000 hours, over 10, 11 months, I believe it is. He has rebuilt the Oaks from the ground up, literally. It is there's nothing the same, I don't think. He's remodeled and retextured absolutely everything, and a testament to your work, mate. It's an absolute beauty. So, interestingly as well, and a little interesting fact I learnt about Farm Sim Brisco as I was chatting to him over the last few weeks and months. The Oaks version 1 was his first map, but he'd started making it, and I think completed it, before even putting more than 10 hours into playing Farming Simulator 22. How incredible is that? So that just goes to show you passion that he had for map making, and he's taught himself so much, and it's just incredible. It really is. So here we are, the vintage oaks. Now, one of the briefs that he gave himself was that he wanted to rebuild the oaks, but with kind of a theme, and that theme is vintage. Obviously, the clue's in the name. Now, how he's gone around this is just brilliant. He's not just thrown anything at the map. He's created a kind of vintage 80s atmosphere, which has involved a lot of thought, really, if I'm honest, from what I can tell. He's been very clever and very thoughtful about what he's put into the map, but also what's not gone into the map, because that's one of the major things I feel that gives this map such a huge amount of personality and atmosphere. And I really mean that. This map is dripping with atmosphere. As a child of the 80s, this just feels right. It really does. There's so much custom stuff that he's done with the map. I honestly don't know where to start. I've got mountains of paper lying around with notes scribbled on. It's just incredible. It really is. So, first and foremost, like I said, he's put more than 1,000 hours over 10 months. The map is based on a real-life location in Norfolk, the UK, where Farm Sim Brisco grew up and still lives today. It is mainly aimed at arable farming, but he has left quite large areas around the factories, which we'll go and visit in a while. He's left them nice and blank, so we can add in production systems if we wish. One of the biggest challenges that Farm Sim Brisco has found and overcome was making all new custom ground textures to help give a well-used and run-down British countryside feel to the map. And there are no fewer than 30 of these new ground textures, and they are all included in the construction menu in the painting section. So there is 30 paintable ground textures, all custom, that Farm Sim Brisco has very cleverly created. So that's incredible. So before we jump into the map PDA, again, another light basic of the map. There are 19, no fewer than 19 pre-built but fully customizable farms, which is incredible. And he's so there's no shortage of choice for starter farms on this map. So let's jump into the PDA and have a look, shall we? So the map is made up of 184 fields that vary in just about every size imaginable, from field 62 here at the biggest, which is 49.66 hectares, 122.7 acres, all the way down to field 51 here, just towards the south of the map, field 51, which is 1.1 hectares, 2.71 acres. And just about every size in between those measurements. As you can see, there is a really good variety of field sizes on here, so you can take advantage of whatever equipment you like to play with, whether it's small or big. This map has got you covered. But one of the very interesting things that Farm Sim Brisco has done with his map PDA, as you can see on the left hand side there, we have a list of all 19 starter farms and their given names. Now these are actually historically accurate to the farms that existed in real life in the 1980s. Farm Sim Brisco has done his research, he really has, and these are the names of all the farms that, whether they do or don't exist in current day, that this is what it was like in around the 1980s. And what he has also done, and it's easier for me to show you if I pop down one notch into the active workers menu, they are all highlighted on the map with a number from 1 to 19, and almost all of them have got their own custom little icons here. Now it's not very clear to see the icons here in the map PDA, but you can see them if we go down to the contracts menu, because if we're all familiar with the way that the NPC field ownership thing works in the game, aren't we? You know, you do a contract, you're doing it for a particular person. But instead, the way that Farm Sim Brisco has laid it out on the map here is all the fields are owned by the different farms instead of just the different people. So up here we can do a contract for Hurst's farm, Key's farm. He's done all these little logos himself. I think they're absolutely brilliant. Sutton's farm. So there we go. All these custom farm ownership things on the map are just that little bit different and that little bit unique, and I really, really appreciate that, I've got to say. But as I say, yeah, they're all numerically shown on the map there. So, like I say, it's easy to see them in the active workers menu without all the colours. But there we got farm number 1 up here. There's number 3, number 4. Where's number 2? There's number 2. So they're all in varying sizes. Some of them are really quite big. Some of them are just quite simple farms, just with a couple of buildings. But the fact that he's done that for us all is absolutely brilliant. I think it just makes the map and makes finding your way around the map that little bit easier. So also on the PDA, we can see we have, in total, there are 6 main grain sell points dotted around the map. You've got the likes of Baiton Grain up here. You've got British Sugar down here somewhere towards the south of the map. Is it that one there? British Grain, sorry. And they're all around the map. Chapel Road Grain. There's the Farmers Market. Old Mill Grain there. East Coast Grain there. So there's 6 main grain sell points there. There is the Farmers Market that is suitable for selling all the other bits and bobs. So you've got your potatoes, grapes, eggs, wool, bread, butter, cheese, honey, all the different oils, sunflower, olive, canola, and the carrots and parsnips and all the other produce that we get from the premium expansion. That's all sellable at the Farmers Market. There is British Sugar and the British Sugar Factory that can cater for your sugar beet or sugar beet cut if you were to be working on that. There is a BGA, which is right up at the top of the map here. It's not actually highlighted with an icon, but it is next door to the timber sell point here for selling your wood. And there is also down at the animal market down here, the animal dealer, there is an area for selling, another area for selling your wool. There's a place to sell your silage and your manure, and a place for selling your bales, so your grass, your hay and your straw as well. So that's pretty much it. There's no extra productions on the map that we've been used to in other maps, perhaps. As Farm Sim Brisco stated, this is primarily aimed at arable farming, but he has obviously included he's built in the option if you wanted to cater for other production systems in the game. There are areas for you to place that already laid out, and they're nice, neat and tidy, all squared off concrete. They've all got gates and such, so you're just free to place your production system down. We will go and take a look at that very shortly. But just to get a better idea as well of the field sizes, so again, very quickly, if I pop into the map here, this is where we are near Farm 13. Field 140 is directly in front of us. Now, from up here, that doesn't look too big, does it? But that's the one that's right in front of us. So if I jump very quickly into flight mode, just so that we can... that's a decent sized field, don't you think? And that just talks to the rest of the map. The field sizes are really, really good sizes. Now, I've been craving a British map with big fields for quite a long time, and this is ticking all of my boxes right now. It really is. I do love getting my big farming on, and it's mainly American maps that have been able to quench my thirst for that recently. But this one, with its authentic feel and big British fields, I can't wait to get my teeth into this. I really can't. So next on the list is the custom farmyards. Now, of course, there's 19 of them in total, so I'm not going to be showing you all 19 of them, because this would be the most ridiculously long map tour video in the world. But needless to say, I'm going to show you around this one, which is the one that we're currently right next to. I have just thrown a load of money in the bank and purchased the land, and we now own this farm. But there's so much custom stuff that I just don't know where to start. So where I will start is, let's go for these doors, for example. These doors that we see dotted around on all of these sheds are, this was actually created from a photograph that he took in real life of a real life big barn door that is on a farm somewhere near him in real life in this area. And he's done whatever wizardry he's done, and he's turned it into a door in the game, and I think it's absolutely genius. It really is. Now, this building in front of us is a custom grain silo. I believe it is based, or it probably started off life based very loosely on one of the base game ones. But how cool is that? And the red brick with the vines hanging off the roof and whatnot, just the aged look, and the dark marks in the brick there that show their age. I just absolutely adore it. That attention to detail is, quite frankly, without sounding overly dramatic, it's exquisite. It really is. So there's a whole ton of his custom buildings here. These are all his own work, so to speak, the sheds. But one very clever thing, or a couple of very clever things that he's done. Have a look at this grain shed here. You probably won't you probably look at it and think, I don't recognise that, but most of us will. Now, if I go into the construction menu very quickly, go straight down to sheds, So we're in the base game stuff here. This easy steel shed, 35,500 hay shed. I'm sure we've all seen this a million times, haven't we, since the game started? Well, what he's done, he's taken this base game shed and he's completely reskinned it. That's what we're looking at here, is this was the basis of it. And he's created this out of it, so he's completely retextured the steel I-beam structure, the main structure of the shed. He's retextured that in that lovely, probably started off life as blue, but it's old and it's completely rusty. And he's panelled it out with all this this old rustic-looking wood. And I think it's just absolute genius. It really is. And he's also added an extra bit of a wall in here at the end just to make it a little bit, I suppose it's just a tiny bit not symmetrical. But all the other buildings you see here are all his own work. And I even love these with the big timber legs. The texture in the wood is just, it's just brilliant. It really is. Now he's done that with this shed here, and he's also done it with another one. Now the other building in question isn't down on this farm, but I'll show you which ones they are. So if I go back into the construction menu, back into sheds, right at the very beginning, we've got the one of these Horman base game ones called the Big Garage. Now, I'm sure we've all seen this one before a million times. Now, what he's done with this one is, if I go right over to the far right-hand side, you can see the same building in the little image there, but when we click on it, look at that. He's completely reskinned and retextured this one as well, and it looks incredible. It is absolutely brilliant. He's completely done it in the red brickwork. He's replaced the roof with some old corrugated metal roofs, and again the barn doors are now typical to the UK, those silver roller shutter doors that we've all seen a million times. I think these two on that side, actually, they're slide left to right slidey ones, but I think they all are, actually, forgive me. I think, yeah, they all slide to the side. But they do remind me of the roller shutter doors. My friend's got one on his workshop, to be fair. It looks exactly like that. But absolutely gorgeous sheds, they really are. And again, the construction menu in the shed section there's a whole load of Farm Sim Brisco's custom sheds here. It's just full of them. There's brick ones and there's wood ones, and of varying doors and sizes. It's absolutely brilliant, and that is essentially what most of the 19 starter farms consist of. Variations in design and size and style of using his own buildings there, which is absolutely brilliant. So another interesting thing, some of you may already see that this farmyard, and I think most of the other farmyards as well, all contain lots and lots of metal junk and scrap. Now, I love this. This is something I really like. I know some of you might appreciate a tidy farm, and ordinarily I do as well, but there's just something about all this that I really quite like. But if you didn't like it and you wanted to get rid of it, it's pretty simple, because it's all removable in the construction menu. You just need to click on it. It'll cost you £100 for each individual piece of scrap, whether it's that bit over there or these drums. You can get rid of them all. And if you so wanted to, you can actually completely get rid of everything on the farm. That's why I brought up and said that they're all completely customizable. You can click on any of the sheds and you can get rid of them. You can sell the grain silo, as you can see there. That's why I said I think this is based on one of the base game ones. He's taken that base game one and he's completely redone it to make it look like that. But yeah, if you wanted to get rid of any of these sheds and design the farm yourself, you can do. Everything is removable, which I think it's something that I know a lot of people have been frustrated for on other British maps, for example, where the farms are just what they are and you can't really do much with them unless you go into Giants Editor. But with these, even this is a custom cow barn over here, holds 150 cows. These are dotted around the map on varying sites in varying farmyards. But yeah, completely custom built by Farm Sim Brisco, using several hundred singular assets that he's all put together to make one custom cow barn, and a really, really nice looking thing. We'll go into a little bit more detail in some of those in a wee while's time. But yeah, I just wanted to show you those and this farmyard in particular. As I said, we'll no doubt pay a visit to one or two of the other ones, but there just isn't the time to go around the whole 19. Another incredible bit of customization that Farm Sim Brisco has added into this map is he has recorded his own bird sounds. He's taken a recording device into his own back garden, and he has recorded several different species of birds, all tweety-pieing away. There you go. Can you hear those ones there? There are several different varieties around the map. I've heard pigeons. I've heard, I don't know what type of bird that was that we just heard then. But there are varying different recordings of different bird chatter, and it just adds to the immersion, and it's absolutely brilliant. It really is. Like I said, I've heard pigeons, I've heard starlings. I'm not too sure what the ones we've just heard are. But I think there's a handful of different recordings dotted around the map just to give each different area a different feel. It's absolutely amazing. Now then, here I am down at the pig farm. Of all the 19 farms on the map that I wanted to definitely show you, it's the dedicated animal farms. But can you hear the pigeons there? I just thought I'd hover over the trees here and just let you hear that one. Another one of the custom sound recordings that Farm Sim Briscos popped into the map, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. How awesome is that? It's just brilliant. So, here we are. We're down at the pig farm. This is Dunthorne's pig farm, farm number 8 on the map. Now, I've purchased the land, obviously, and I've stuck a load of pigs into each of the pig pens. Now, in total, there are 6 pig pens. There are 4 large ones and 2 small ones. That's a small one there, and the other small one there. Now, the small ones hold a capacity of 108 pigs. The large ones hold a capacity of 270, giving a grand total of available pigs to have down here to 1,296. So if you wanted to get your pig farming on, you can do. Now, I've loaded them all up with what they need. They've all got troughs full of corn, and they are also full of straw as well. Now, there's a little bit of difference between the 2 pig barns. The large ones take straw from the bale, helpfully signposted there, unload bales, so you just stick your loose bales in front of there, and they will take from the bale. The smaller cow barns take loose straw from the trailer when you fill them into the silo here, so that's where you'll put your pig feed and also your loose straw as well. Relatively simple, I suppose, and they do obviously produce slurry. You've got 2 large slurry tanks for decorational purposes at either end of the pig farm, but each of the pig barns individually has their own slurry unload point there at the end of each one. So yeah, really, really nice. But also, I just absolutely love the design of this farm in particular. Now, you've got a lovely big farmhouse here. Again, ideal if you wanted to place down a mat and call that your home. But another thing I wanted to point out is just this gorgeous concrete plate texture that he's added into various farms around here. One of the many custom textures, obviously, that's on the map, but this one's really, really quite cool. It really is. Again, I just feel it's very authentic to this time period, this decade. It's I've not seen this around for quite a while, to be honest, but yeah, it's I just love the, again, the worn, beaten, cracked, knackered old concrete look. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, this farm has not only obviously you've got your pig pens, but there's plenty of storage space as well down here to store your machinery that you need to run your pig farm. So I guess that's a very brief rundown of the pig farm. There's also, very local to it, up the concrete plated path, you've got yourself your farm silo, and again a bit more space for storage. Nice little open area here. A few sheds. So, and a diesel tank. There we go. Right, so I think next on the list we will make our way over to the cow farm. Right, here we are down here at the cow farm. This is farm number 7, Cantley Dairy Farm. Now this has 2 of the custom cow pens enclosures in here. Each of them hold a total of 150 cows. They take straw, they take obviously total mixed ration and whatnot, and they produce milk and they produce slurry, and they do also produce manure. Now, interestingly, a couple of interesting points of this one. The cow pens do produce manure, and the manure spawns in the centre of the little pasture here. Now, each of the you'll find near every cow barn on the map there will be a manure pit, but it doesn't automatically spawn into here, and Farm Sim Brisco's done that on purpose, so that you have to manually muck out each pen with a front loader or a skid steer bucket or whatnot, and manually load it into the bunker here, which I think it's I quite like that, to be honest. I suppose back in this decade there wouldn't have been any automation or anything like that, so you'd have had to do all that kind of stuff yourself. But it kind of makes sense in my mind. So yeah, if you wanted to run a bit of a dairy empire down here, you can do. And there'll be a lot of work for you to keep on top of, I guess. Now, interestingly, slightly different to the pig pens, you do have this unload bale sign here, but it doesn't actually take from the bale straight away. What you need to do, you need to get yourself a straw blower, load your bales into your blower, pull up here, and fire it all off into the pen, and it works perfectly there. So yeah, that's pretty much that when it comes to the cow barns. Now, these are lovely cow barns. He's constructed these using, I believe, many hundreds of different individual assets, and he's I think again that the main part of this cow barn is based on that steel easy shed, I believe, and he's obviously customized it all around that. But yeah, really nice authentic looking cow barns. Now down here on this particular dairy farm, you've got a couple of these massive silage clamps. Now these are also available in the construction menu, as is the manure pit here, so you're free to place a couple of those down if need be. As is all of the animal barns as well. This is in the construction menu. You can place that down if you wanted to create your own farm. Now it does come with this lovely farmhouse, which is nicely isolated behind the fence and the hedges here. Really quite nice, very quaint. But yeah, lovely setup down here, I've got to say. Right, now I was going to nip straight away now and go and have a look at the chicken farm, but while we're down here, we'll go and have a quick look over here at the factory area. So here we are over at the big factory area down on the south of the map. We're just along to the right a bit from the cow farm there, the dairy farm. So those of you familiar with version 1 of the Oaks will recognise this area. This was where a lot of the big factories and production areas were set on that map. But what he's done here, as you can see, I think we've got a total of 8 down here, big open blank areas that have just been left blank so that we can all place our own production systems down if we want to. So we've got 2 there, we've got that long strip there in the middle that I think we could consider a third, and there's 5 over there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the other 2 that are towards the north west side of the map. That brings the total to 10, I think. Now, forgive me if I'm factually incorrect with that one, but I think we've got 10 blank areas that are properly laid out as it were. Now obviously the map being a 4x map, there's plenty of scope for placing your own stuff down anywhere you want on any bit of land, but obviously these bits are set aside and nicely built in. So what have we got down here? We have British grain, which is a typical grain selling point, but what this map does have in stark contrast to the version 1, we have ourselves a train. Farm Sim Brisco has built and put in a relatively short train system into here. Now it is the base game model, I suppose, but what he has done, again just for a little bit of authenticity, he's painted the locomotive in old British Rail blue and put the old British Rail logo on there, so that's a really nice touch. And what the train does also have, which I'll try and demonstrate to you very shortly, is he has also put a custom sound in with this one as well, so it does actually sound like a good old British Rail locomotive from back in the 80s. So it's again really nice little touch, little attention to detail. I've rented the train, so I've got it there. So what I'll try and do is I'll let the train go again and see if I can just follow it along the track and see if we can hear the train sound, because it's pretty cool. But yeah, we've got a grain sell point there that we can utilise the train with. Obviously we can pull up here and we can unload and load and sell product on the far side of the map at both ends there. And we have this is a sugar factory here. This is a purchasable production system which I have purchased, so if sugar beet and sugar beet cut are your thing, you can purchase this and make yourself some sugar. And we also have the sell points over here for sugar beet and sugar beet cut if we weren't doing the production system thing. But again, utilising some of these base game factories, they're really quite nice, big and industrial looking things. So yeah, really quite cool. And the same over here. I think this is for sugar beet only and sugar beet cut. But yeah, really nice, nicely laid out area here. Really quite nice. So let's see if we can let this train go and see if we can hear this system, shall we? So return the rented train. There we go. It does also have a custom engine sound as well, so we can just follow it along. There you go. Big old logo. There it is. Brilliant stuff. it's those little little bits of attention to detail that just make this map really quite special, if you ask me. Right. With that out of the way, let's go and check out the chicken farm. Before we do go on to the chicken farm, actually, I figured it would be criminal of me not to just bring up and highlight the beauty of the village-scapes that Farm Sim Brisco has created on this map. Now, this is the little village of Cantley. We are just next to the factory area down here, and the dairy farm just over there in the distance, right at the bottom of the map here, next to the railway line. But just look at it. It is absolutely beautiful. The layout of it is very typical to a typical English village. The variation in the styles of the houses is something else. The land in between. Now, obviously, we'll pass through here in our machinery as we're going to the sell points, perhaps, and we wouldn't necessarily give much of it a second thought. But just the amount of work and time that's gone into just creating this layout it's something else. It really is. It's so clear. It's so crisp. The detail is exquisite. It's just wonderful. It really is. Such a beautiful layout. And you've got the pedestrians wandering around as well in various areas. Even there, just a little area for them to go and sit down. She's just decided to not sit down. She kind of turned around right in front of the bench, didn't she? Let's see if this old geezer does the same. So let's sit down. Nah. Go back this way. But yeah, it's just... This is what makes a special map, in my opinion. It really does. But yeah, lovely stuff. And again, from up here, you can just see the lay of the land. Now, this is obviously, it's Norfolk in the UK, I suppose generally known as being relatively flat, but it isn't completely pan flat, is it? There are hills and undulations and ups and downs. But the layout is just beautiful. And again, going back to the size of the fields, they're really quite big. Now, which one are we above here? Let's just bring up the map PDA very quickly. We're down here somewhere. So this is field 55. So I suppose it is, well, it's a medium-sized field, I think we could say, from the selection that we've got on the map. But these are really, really big fields. They really are. This one here, I think, is this one the big one? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, this is 62. So this is the biggest on the map. And looking at it from above, it's quite a whopper. And if we're going to be, I know I'm going to do my very best to try and really spend a bit of time selecting the equipment that I'd like to use on this map. Obviously, with it being vintage, considering the theme, the decade, the 80s, they didn't have, or as far, they didn't have massive headers like we have in modern day stuff, do we? They're relatively small, like the class Dominator, for example. I think the biggest one that's got, so is it 7.7 meters, I think. So this could take quite a while with one or even two of those. So you never know, we might have to consider going down the route of having 3 or 4 harvesters on the farm. That'd be pretty cool, eh? But here we are. This is actually one of my favourite farms layouts here on the map. There's so many to choose from. It's going to be such a task to find the right one. But this is currently one of my favourite ones. It's got this beautiful barn. It kind of reminds me of a horse stables, really. But yeah, they've got this beautiful barn with the front door of the house here. Now, one thing, forgive me, I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but in the construction menu, there we are. Go to the farmhouses. Farm Sim Brisco has included in the map a custom vintage oaks doormat, so you can place down for £10. It's got a nice little custom logo on it, vintage oaks, and you can place that down in front of any front door that you choose from your starter farm, because obviously I think all, if not every, starter farm on the map does have a some form of farmhouse that you can choose from, so you can just place down that doormat and off you go. But yeah, this could be a good one. Just love the layout of it. It's just the lay of the land, and you've got this lovely driveway going up to it, and this is one that you've got there. This is a big farm silo here, isn't it? Just kind of separate on its own. Lovely stuff. But just look at it from up here. It really is. This is a very, very special map. Now, forgive me, I've said this so far 150 times, haven't I? The words incredible, special, beautiful, gorgeous. But it is. What can I say? There's so many areas of the map here. Like, obviously, You've got these forestry areas here. If you wanted to, if there is a wood sell point on the map, if you wanted to cut down a load of trees and make a bit of money, you can do. There are plenty of trees on the map. And there we have a little standalone. Well, that's quite a pretty thing, isn't it? Look at that, just standing alone on its own. There's no farm around that at all, but if you wanted to, you could pick that as your starter house and construct yourself a farm somewhere nearby, perhaps. I don't know. There's just so much scope on this map. There's so much scope. You can just let your imagination run wild. You really can. If one of the 19 starter farms doesn't tickle your fancy, you can just build your own from scratch. Now, regarding the towns and the villages, obviously Cantley over there, I think there's a couple. There's Cantley over there, and there's Freethorpe, which will take a relatively quick drive through at some point very soon. But yeah, and you've got these other little areas here that are you've just got the odd 1 or 2 houses that are set aside in little clusters nearby one of the farms here. Oh, this is the pig farm, isn't it? But yeah, it's so much time and so much thought has gone into this map. There you go. There's a nice church there with a handful of gravestones. Sorry. The detail in that is wonderful. I do love those stained glass windows. But yeah, I think this is one of the starter farms, if I remember correctly. This one is Putney Corner Farm, number 19. Yeah, so this must be Putney Corner, imaginatively named. But yeah, it's just nice and basic. As I said before, there's some of them that are really quite big with loads of storage space and sheds, and this one's relatively small. You got your farmhouse, obviously. Place your doormat down. That's your farmhouse, and you just got a relatively small area to have your machinery. You can still work the land all around you. It's lovely, it really is. Nice house on the corner as well there. Lovely stuff. Right, okay, so chicken farm. Let's get there. Okay, so here we are over at the chicken farm. Now this is situated on the far eastern side of the map. This is farm number 11, called the chicken farm. Now it contains 4 of Farm Sim Brisco's custom chicken pens. Now again, similar to the pigs and the cows, and there is also a sheep as well. This is available in the construction menu. You can build yourself one of these and place one down wherever you want. Each of these barns hold a total of 2,500 chickens. So in total, you can hold 10,000 chickens in all here. So you can get your chicken farming on if that was your thing. Really, really nicely authentic chicken barns. Now each one of them has its own little feed silo and feed grate, so you can obviously tip your feed into there. But you do also have the door that you can open and just have a look inside and all. It's again really cool and nice and authentic. And at the back of each barn, this is where your eggs spawn. Now I have fast forwarded time. We're now in the next month as to where we were at the beginning of this video. I've fed all the animals and just fast forwarded time just to demonstrate, for example, like where the eggs spawn on the chicken in the chicken pens here, and obviously where the manure spawns on the cow pens, etc., etc. But yeah, nice little area to store your eggs there. And what we do also have at the back of the farm here is another one of these big custom silos, which are really, really nice. I do love these things, so I suppose you can double this up and use it as vehicle storage if you wanted to store some of your vehicles for running your chicken farm. But it is also a nice big custom silo as well, so really, really nice. And also, if you just wanted to stick with chicken farming and just own this little plot of land, obviously you've got yourself a little farmhouse here, so you can place your doormat and be entirely self-contained up here. Love it. And I've just found the sheep farm. It was just across the road from the chicken farm. I don't know how I missed that one, but the sheep were already in the field. I didn't. It just missed my eye, I suppose. But this comes part and parcel with farm number 12, which is situated here. Lovely little layout here. Again, you've got your standard custom oaks barns here. A few of those. The shed, and you've got yourself a lovely little quaint farmhouse there in the corner. Really quite nice. But yeah, this comes part and parcel with farm number 12. So if you buy the plot of land, it comes with 10 sheep. And again, this placeable, which is just consists of like a kind of open pasture with the water and feed trough in it. That is available in the construction menu if you so wish. You can place one down anywhere you like. But yeah, glad I found that. Now, as beautiful as this map is, just about everywhere you look, everywhere on the map, where it comes into its own, for me anyway, is out here in the open countryside. So we're just coming down a random country lane here, and on the left, we just pull off into this beautiful little bit of farm track here, as it opens out into one of the fields. Now, there's so many little bits of detail that Farm Sim Brisco has created that us as players would just walk past and not give it a second thought. But having spent time talking to him and learning all the little bits and bobs that he's done on this map, it's really incredible. Now, what he has done, I mean, well, here's one, for example. He told me that he spent hours and hours and hours changing the angles of the concrete ground texture to match the directions of the sheds that he was placing on the farmyards. It's that little attention to detail, and I think during that journey he'd created about 150 different angles of concrete just to get it right. So it's incredible, it really is. And another thing he's also done, he's added under all of the hedgerows around the map, there's about 3 or 4 different variations of textures just under the hedges alone. There's a variation of moss, dirt, leaves and dry grass all underneath all the hedgerows, which is, again, you wouldn't give that a second thought, you wouldn't even see it half the time, but it is there, and again, it just adds to the incredible immersion that when you actually see all these little things, it's like, wow, okay. It's just brilliant, it really is. Now, another thing he's done, of which there are many, the list goes on, he has reshaded all the foliage textures to make it more realistic, and he's also provided us with matching paintable grass, of which there are 4 varieties. Now, I have quite horribly butchered this field here and just placed down one of each just to show you. So here we have an example of the custom meadow grass that we have on the map. This is the oaks small grass. We have the oaks medium grass and the oaks long dry grass. So there's 4 different varieties that we can paint on. So that's really quite cool. And over here in one big long row, we have all the custom paintable textures. So from here to the end, we have animal mud. We have asphalt light. Well, sorry, we have asphalt light. We have concrete. We have dark leaves. We have dirt. We have dirt mix 2. We have dirty cobble. This is the farm track that we've seen quite a lot of. Now, I believe, forgive me if I'm wrong with this, but I know this is a 4K texture. I'm unsure whether the other ones are, but they're all very clear and very detailed. So yeah, this is the farm track. There are 7 varieties of farmcrete. I think he's whittled those down from the 150 that he created. But yeah, as you can see, they're all of a similar texture, but they're all just at slightly different angles, aren't they? But yeah, really, really nice. So there's 7 of those. And then we move on to flint dark, flint light. We have forest floor, forest leaves. That's really nice, isn't it? We have grass. We have grass mixture. That looks like it's a mixture of grass and the farm track, perhaps. We have gravel track. We have green moss. We have grey cobble. We have grey gravel grass. Which one's this? I'm consulting a list here. Grey stone, pink flowers. This is the road texture. And finally, white cobble. Now, that's beautiful. I'm convinced all of these are in 4K. They are. Look at the detail in that. It really is. Beautiful. Really, really nice. So yeah, as I say, there is so many things to consider on this map that Farm Sim Brisco has spent hours and hours and hours labouring over just to make those tiny little details what they are and what make this map so special. And another point as well, one of the major points, the map is so well optimised. I'm currently roughly somewhere slap bang in the middle of the map. If I bring up my FPS monitor here, 60 frames a second for argument's sake all day long, and I can spin around in a circle, rendering quite far into the distance. I've got my viewing and rendering distances set to about 300%, I think. And look at that, 60 frames all day long. So, just awesome. This is an incredible map. Now, this is going to be perfect. This is a perfect multiplayer map with the field sizes being what they are, and with it being a 4x map. It's just incredible, and with so many scopes, so many different choices for the starter farms. It's going to be brilliant for multiplayer. But it's also good for solo as well. I do like to solo a big map, but yeah, anyone looking for multiplayers will no doubt find this on a server near you very, very soon when it's released. Right, so let's take a little trip now over into Freethorpe, one of the little villages. Right, here we are in the lovely, quaint village of Freethorpe. Now, I just want to stop here and just show you another really small little bit of detail, but it's attention to detail nonetheless. Look at the giveaway sign there, how the texture is made up of all those little hexagons. That's what they are in real life, and I caught that, and I just thought, wow, that's just really cool. Proper giveaway signs, proper to the UK. We've got the obviously the 30 speed limit signs here. There's also national speed limit signs dotted around, but I love even how these 30 signs have just got a bit of grub and grime on them, like they haven't been washed in a while. Again, it's really small, but it's attention to details like that I really do appreciate. Lovely quaint oldie English pub here as well. I think there's a couple of these on the map. There's one, I'm not sure if this one's got a name, but there's one called the Cantley Cock somewhere on the map over in Cantley, no doubt. But even there, you've got the road sign there. If you were getting a bit lost, if you wanted to make your way to the dealership or the BGA, it's down there. But yeah, I just wanted to take a bit of a drive through this lovely little town. We're right on the very edge of the town here, so if we look to the right as we come out of the village, it just breaks off into the vast countryside, and it just looks and feels perfect. It really does. But yeah, if we hang a left down here, we can make our way to the dealership. Now, I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the video, there's certain things that Farm Sim Brisco has left out of the map, and one of the things, obviously in his quest to keep things feeling kind of vintage as best as possible, and one of those things at the minute is traffic. As you'll see, the roads are relatively quiet. Now, I don't mind this personally. It's entirely, obviously, it's entirely a personal thing, but I really don't mind the fact that there's no traffic on the roads. I suppose technically you could argue that in the 80s, the road networks around the UK were much quieter than what they are now, so it kind of makes sense. Yes, there was traffic, of course, but the reason why he's done that is, again, attention to detail. The vehicles that you see driving around on the in the traffic systems, on the traffic splines, there's only one of them, the model of vehicle, that is actually correct to the decade, and that's the old Citroen 2CV, the yellow one. All the other vehicles that I can think of, one of them's based loosely on an Audi A3, which is way too modern. One of them's based loosely on a Peugeot 406. The van is it's either a Renault Trafic or a Vauxhall Vivaro, but again, it's too modern. Those models of vehicle weren't around in the 80s, and Farm Sim Brisco didn't want to put those in because it would take away from the fact that the brief of creating this map was to make it feel and look like it was in the 80s. Apart from that one there you go, there's a Peugeot 406. Maybe that one's been missed off, but maybe, but yeah, I'll maybe send him a quick message about that one, but there you go. But yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of a service area here. Can I bring up the... No, there's no trigger there. Can we service our vehicles here? I don't think so. Oh well, either way. But yeah, this is the dealership, so this is where you will pick up your vehicles when you buy them, in this lovely big open area around the back here. So that's excellent. Got a shed here as well again. I think it's just for decoration, isn't it? But yeah, I just saw the yellow and black lines on the floor and thought perhaps it might be a workshop, but that's okay. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen, the Vintage Oaks by Farm Sim Brisco, an absolute masterpiece. From custom reshaded foliage textures to 30-odd custom ground textures, custom animal barns, cows, chickens, sheep, you name it, it's on this map, they're on this map. Now I know, forgive me, there are huge areas of this map that we haven't covered in this map tour, I appreciate that, but I kind of want to leave that for you guys to discover as well, and it's kind of a bit of a journey, if I'm honest, because as I've been flying around this map these last few days, I'd fly over a farm, for example, and I'd look at it and I'd go, oh, that's definitely going to be the one that I'm going to start on. That's a beautiful layout. I'm having that one. And then I'd find another one and go, oh, that's even better. I want to do that one now. So, and with there being 19 to choose from, now I like building a custom farm. I like starting from scratch. Those of you who've seen a few of my series in the past will know that I like to do that. But on this map, I'm going to be taking full advantage of some of the beauties that Farm Sim Brisco has created, for sure. I still haven't decided on one yet. I've seen them all, and I'm in a bit of a quandary, if I'm honest. But even little details like that, I mean, that church is absolutely beautiful, isn't it? The stained glass. It's got a bit of a graveyard. I know there's a couple of churches dotted around the map that have got a slightly busier graveyard, but again, it's just those little attention to details and things that you can see on the horizon as you're driving around that just make the place so immersive. So, there we are. I really do hope you have enjoyed this map tour, ladies and gentlemen. There will be a link to the Farm Sim Brisco's itch.io page to download the map when it is ready. It is not out yet as of this time of recording. Hopefully it may well be out in the next few days. I think that is what Farm Sim Brisco has got in mind. But as I say, I will place a link to his itch page in the video description below, so you can all keep an eye on that and get it downloaded when it's ready to download. I encourage you to do so. Obviously, it's PC only. Have I mentioned that already? I'm not too sure. My head is awash with so much information. And forgive me that I've not spent a huge amount of time on the road network either, of which the road network is. It's very authentic. It's beautifully laid out, and it feels so British that you know, he's done. It's testament to Farm Sim Brisco. But with the map being so big, I feel that, you know, you can just see a lot more and gauge a lot more of the map from up here with the jetpack on. But I mean, look at this, the size of these fields here. It's perfect for a large field British map. Is like I said earlier, it's something that I've been craving, and this has absolutely quenched that thirst. It really has. So, thank you very much for watching the video, ladies and gentlemen. I really do hope you've enjoyed this map tour and found it a bit of fun. As always, if you're new to my channel and you like my content and you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please give the video a like if you can. And as always, there are a host of links in the video description below with my Giants Partner promo code. If any of you are in the market for purchasing a DLC, an add-on, a season pass, or even the full game itself, or even pre-ordering Farming Simulator 25, there's a link for that. And you like the idea of helping a content creator out and supporting their channel, as always, I'd be hugely appreciative. A massive thank you to you, Farm Sim Brisco, mate, if you're watching. Thank you so much for the opportunity to do an early access map preview on this absolutely gorgeous masterpiece, quite frankly. Really appreciate it, mate. So, thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.